The metal tray felt heavy in my hands, shaking just a little bit. It wasn't because the food was heavy. It was because I was terrified. I had never been inside a mess hall before. The cafeteria was huge, smelling like industrial cleaner, old coffee, and grease. It was loud, filled with the booming voices of men and women who walked with a purpose I didn't have. I felt small. I felt out of place. I was only on the base for the day. I had special permission to be there for a ceremony later that afternoon. It was a cold day, the kind of gray chill that gets into your bones, so I had put on the only warm thing I had in the car. It was a large, camouflage field jacket. It swallowed me up. The sleeves were rolled up 3 times so my hands could pop out, and the hem went down to my knees. On the sleeve, there was a patch. A rank. A crow with 2 chevrons. Petty Officer, 2nd Class. I found a small, empty table in the corner, hoping to eat my sandwich and disappear. I kept my head down, staring at the scratched plastic surface of the table, wrapping the jacket tighter around myself. It still smelled like him. It smelled like peppermint gum and engine oil. It was the only thing keeping me together. Suddenly, the light above my table was blocked. A shadow fell over my tray. The noise at the nearby tables died down. I looked up. Standing there was a giant of a man. He had a trident pin on his chest. A Navy SEAL. He looked like he was carved out of granite, and he didn't look happy. "Hey," he said. His voice wasn't a yell, but it carried across the room. It was deep and rough. I swallowed hard. "Yes. That's a uniform item," he said, pointing a thick finger at my shoulder. "You active duty?" "No, sir," I whispered. He let out a short, harsh laugh. He looked around at his buddies, who were all watching with grins on their faces. "Hear that? She's not active duty. But she's wearing the rank. She's wearing the bird." He looked back at me, his eyes narrowing. "You think it's cool? You think it's a fashion statement to wear a rank you didn't earn? My guys bleed for that. We die for that." My face burned. I could feel every eye in the cafeteria on me. It felt like the walls were closing in. "It's big on you," he mocked, leaning closer. "You playing dress-up, sweetheart? You want to play soldier? Take it off. It's disrespectful." I can't," I stammered. I was cold, and I was shaking, but not from the temperature anymore. "Take it off," he said, his voice dropping to a growl. "You don't get to wear that. You don't know what that rank means." The room was deadly silent now. Even the kitchen staff had stopped moving. The shame was hot and prickly behind my eyes, threatening to spill over as tears. But then, I felt the rough fabric of the pocket against my hand. I remembered the man who used to wear it. He wouldn't have backed down. He never backed down. I took a deep breath. I didn't take the jacket off. Instead, I stood up. I was a head shorter than the SEAL, but I looked him right in the eyes. "You're right," I said. My voice shook, but it was loud enough to be heard in the quiet room. "I didn't earn this rank. I don't know how to shoot a gun. I don't know how to clear a room. I don't know what it's like to be in a war." The SEAL crossed his arms, waiting for me to apologize or run away. "But I know what it means," I continued, my voice getting stronger. "I know that this rank means coming home with nightmares. I know it means missing birthdays and anniversaries. I know it means fixing broken bodies when you're too tired to stand." I touched the patch on the sleeve gently. "This didn't belong to a soldier who played dress-up," I said, tears finally spilling onto my cheeks. "This jacket belonged to Corpsman Michael Davis. He was a petty officer 2nd class. He wore this jacket in Afghanistan." The SEAL's face changed. His arms dropped to his sides. The arrogance vanished, replaced by a look of confusion, and then recognition. "Doc Davis," he whispered. "He died 3 months ago," I said, the pain in my chest feeling fresh and raw. "He didn't die in combat. He died after he got home because he couldn't leave the war behind. I am wearing this jacket because I am freezing, and because it is the last time I will ever feel his arms around me. I am here to pick up his posthumous commendation." I looked around the room. The grins were gone. The soldiers and sailors looking at me weren't mocking me anymore. Most of them were looking at the floor. I looked back at the seal. He looked pale. He looked like he had been punched in the gut. "I'm sorry if it offends you," I said softly, "but I'm not taking it off. I earned the right to wear it by burying the man who earned the rank." The silence in the cafeteria was heavy, but it wasn't hostile anymore. It was a sad, respectful silence. It was the kind of silence you hear in a church. The big Navy SEAL took a step back. He didn't look like a giant anymore. He looked like a man who was hurting. He slowly straightened his posture. He didn't say another word to me. He simply brought his hand up and snapped a sharp, slow salute. He held it for a long moment. Then, one by one, the other men at his table stood up. Then the table next to them. Within 30 seconds, everyone in the mess hall who was in uniform was standing. They weren't saluting me. They were saluting the jacket. They were saluting Michael. "I'm sorry, ma'am," the SEAL said, his voice thick with emotion. "I didn't know. He was a good man. A damn good document." "Thank you," I whispered. I sat back down and pulled the oversized jacket tighter. For the first time all day, I didn't feel cold. I felt warm. I felt safe. And I knew, somehow, that Michael was right there with me, sitting in that loud, quiet cafeteria.